Singing is the lowest form of communication.
Maria Callas said to sing is an expression of your being. Edith Piaf said singing was a way of escaping. And yes, Homer, the other Homer, said it was the lowest form of communication. What do you think? Why do we sing? Where does the voice come from? My name is Karen Myatt, and I pose these questions and more to some of the greatest singers of our time. Welcome to La Voce Vita. I am very pleased to introduce today's guest, Independent Music Award winner for Best Jazz Song of the Year, JPF Award winner for her debut jazz album. Her music has consistently charted at #1 on the Billboard Japan Jazz charts, iTunes, Amazon Music. It is my pleasure to welcome Halie Loren. Halie, thanks so much for being here.
It's so my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
It's funny, I assumed that you were Canadian. I'm not sure why.
I take that as the highest honor.
Yeah, good. Well, I discovered actually that I was close, so sort of. So maybe a good place to start would be to tell us about where you're originally from and how you got started in music.
Yeah, so a lot of people think I'm from Canada. For one, you're not the only person who's thought that, but I do spend a lot of time there. I grew up though in Alaska, so Canada adjacent. I grew up on an island in the southeast of Alaska, very close to, British Columbia, Victoria, or, that whole area, in a town called Sitka. And I lived there until I was a teenager. And then I moved down to the Northwest, the mainland, and specifically to Oregon, which is where I currently reside. I had a couple of years where I didn't live in Oregon, but I ended up returning here, and I still call this home. And I make my way up to Canada quite often to perform, to record, and I absolutely love spending time whenever I can in Canada.
I'd like to ask you about how you started singing, why you started singing, when, and what were some of your earlier influences?
Sure. The whys are, I have no idea, to be honest. It just kind of was. It just came out of me from the youngest age I can remember. I was always a singer at heart. My parents have all kinds of stories that I wish there were, videos to accompany home videos, but that wasn't as much of a thing in the 80s. I started singing with more of an intent to actually perform when I was 10 years old. That's when I first started playing live. I first started sort of honing what it meant to be a singer in front of people. By no means was I professional early on, although it didn't take me very long. I started getting really serious about performing when I was 13 years old. And after I'd spent several years singing live in Alaska, including at Sitka Fine Arts Camp, which is where I had my first ever experience performing with a live band, which was a jazz vocal performance. And I was 10 and I was and 11 when I did that 2 years in a row. And that sort of lit the fire in me for wanting to really pursue that particular path. It really drew me in. And even though I tried a lot of different genres over my young artist development life, I kept getting sort of drawn back to that flame again and again. But going back to the part where I moved to Oregon. So I moved to Oregon when I was 13, and I started having a lot more opportunities to perform because, for one thing, I didn't live on an island with 8,000 people, which sort of limits your options. Okay. But I also, had this enormous music community that I was entering into that were very giving with their time and their experience. All of these much more seasoned musicians, obviously a lot older than me, who acted as mentors to me from a really young age. And kind of taught me a lot more about the ins and outs of performing in ways that I'd never, experienced as a younger girl in Alaska. And by the time I was 14, I'd done enough shows with enough professionals to actually perform professional shows myself. So I started playing a lot, making a little bit of a living on summer break and on weekends after school. And I was also a swimmer at the time. So I was also trying to balance school and swimming and music. And it was a lot of activity, but I stopped swimming around age 14. And I think that's probably why I was like, I can do this more often with the music thing. And I can really make this my main thing. And it definitely took shape as sort of the primary path of my life outside of school. And I've just always kept that passion. I was singing jazz. I was writing songs at that age already. So I was doing a lot of original music. I was trying, Americana. I was singing folk, world music, pop, even old country, like all kinds of things. Just trying a sampler, smorgasbord, just constantly as I was growing up. And I think that was really good for me.
I can hear all of those different genres influenced in your recordings. Did you have any particular artists that you listened to growing up that were major influence for you?
More than I should probably name because it'll be a long wait.
Yeah.
But I was very drawn to Nat King Cole from as early as I can remember. Just that he sort of had his own genre as far as I'm concerned. That was sort of the thing, very big touchstone for me, as well as a lot of other artists of that particular, vintage. Ella Fitzgerald, Peggy Lee, Julie London, Etta James. Loved Etta James. Oh my gosh, she was one of my favorites. I really got into Nina Simone as I became an older teenager, and that's also when I discovered Joni Mitchell. I really loved Sarah McLachlan when I was, a teenager and a young 20s artist. She was all over the place then, and I became a super fan. A lot of Canadian artists that I'm naming here.
It's coming on Christmas. They're cutting down trees. They're putting up reindeer and singing songs of joy and peace. So I wish I had a river I could skate away on. But it don't snow here. It stays pretty green. Gonna make a lot of money, then I'm gonna quit this crazy scene. Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate away on. I wish I had a river so long I could teach my feet to fly. Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate away on.
So as an interpreter, mostly, I think most of your recordings are jazz standards or contemporary covers of some sort. Did you ever find that you were mimicking or imitating? And if so, how did you find your own voice through all of that?
Oh, that's a really good question. And yes, the answer is absolutely. I was such a mimic from very early on. That was how I was able to explore music more so than anything else, I think, was just really trying to find my way to replication. And I've not ever been classically trained. I mean, I've had some, I had a little bit of voice lessons when I was right around the time I was going professional, primarily for the purpose of, I didn't really know warm-ups. I didn't really know how to not hurt myself. And so that became, a very valuable skill set around that time. But in terms of, just learning my voice, I was on my own with that one. And I think being able to try to figure out how to replicate certain sounds, certain, or not just timbres of voice, but also rhythmic approaches to things, and where different people breathed, and all these things, the phrasing of things, that became a secondary lesson that I didn't even realize I was learning. I thought I was just trying to like sound like so and so, but I ended up like feeling the physicality of how it was to make that happen, and that became a part of my technique lesson for myself over many, many, many times, over the years. And of course, I didn't want that to be the ultimate goal. Once I became really serious about wanting to pursue this path professionally as an artist in my own right. And so I think I started really consciously trying to dig in and use those tools that I learned from those years of trying to sound like a certain thing, and actually dig into what felt authentic, what felt right, what felt like it would sit in a place in my voice. And when I would close my eyes and like envision a song, like where I would see kind of all of the spectrum of things happening. It's always a visual thing for me also. The more I did that, of course, the better I would get at that, until I just never think about anymore. And it's been years since I thought about how would so-and-so do this. It just doesn't occur to me because it's just, they're all in there. All of the influences, they live inside of us, right? All of those things subconsciously are in there. And so we're always borrowing from these past artists, these beloved touchstones for our own artistry. And it becomes second nature to just use those tools as what they are, which is like a paintbrush.
Be careful where you plant your feet. You grow roots you don't even see. One day you're gonna wake up and find you've settled down. Be careful where you sleep and dream. It's gonna frame all that you see. One day you're gonna wake up and find you're stuck in this town. When you finally open up your eyes,
does your voice come from? So sometimes we feel like a spiritual connection, or you're just some sort of messenger of some source, or it's a generational thing that was passed down to you. Where does your voice come from?
Oh, the great mystery.
Yeah.
I don't fully know, and I think there's no way to really fully know. But I didn't come from a musical family. It's not like I grew up where everybody played an instrument and everybody sang together, and it wasn't one of those things, which I think would have been maybe really cool, but maybe it's exactly how it should have been, right? I have parents who are very supportive of my musical journey, my career, and were from a really early age. They are huge music fans, and in so many ways, like that has been hugely impactful for me being able to start doing that so young. But I do have more distant family that definitely have more of a musical, more musical skills, and have been active in music, but like second cousins and et cetera, et cetera. But so who knows if maybe it's obviously somewhat genetic. I think sometimes you're just born with an innate thing, and where that comes from, whether it's genetics or channeling it from some other realm, I don't know. All I know is that it feels like it comes from that place where you're able to tap into your most elemental, like human self, out of your headspace self and into the body self. and there's an innate knowing in there. And I don't know where that comes from. I mean, humans have communicated through music for as long as we know. And it's one of the most basic elements of human connection and communication, it seems. And it doesn't matter what culture. So obviously we're built for it. And so I think it's just like getting out of your own way and being able to tap into that connection is what helps bring it out.
I know you have a significant body of work. I think I counted something like 11 albums. Are you up to 11 now?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah, and your latest recording was just released this year, right? In 2024.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Dreams Lost and Found just came out in April.
It's beautiful. I had a nice
Thank you.
to it. And I loved, actually, I saw you on social media leading up to it. You do a really great job with social media. I know it's something all of us musicians kind of have to do now, but it's fun to watch people having fun with it. And I think you were doing like a little snippet, like a on your stories, like one little
Yeah.
a day leading
Yeah.
up to the release. I love that. Where'd you get that idea?
I was just like, what can I do as a teaser? And I love doing a cappella. You know, I love just kind of, I sing my way through my day so often. I'm like, why wouldn't I just do it on camera a little bit? And yeah, I just thought it'd be fun. And you know, low skills required. I'm not like the best, most, you know, technologically advanced videographer. So whatever I end up doing, it's like I feel like I need to lower the barriers to entry so that I will actually do the thing. So, you know, it was one of those things where, yeah, just go about my day and wherever I happen to be, just record a little bit of a song with my iPhone and post it, and there you go.
Every day I'll post a story with a little clip from each song. For all we know, how high the moon just dance me to the end of love. Sabor a mí. There's a bunny looking for something. What can it be? Life throws a curve. Agité comme un oiseau. I'm starry-eyed and vaguely discontented all night long. Stop this world and let me off. But the fool on the hill, I think of you 2,000 miles away. I'm feeling sad and blue. I'll be seeing you.
There's a beautiful little track on your latest recording. It's c'est le printemps. It's
yeah.
It's like a French intro to It Might As Well Be Spring. And I just wanted to ask you about that. Like, where did that come from?
I just delight in singing in French.
Good.
I am not fluent in French. I wish I was as a speaker, but I love singing in French so much. One day, maybe I will actually feel conversational. I don't know. But in the meantime, I really love, it's such a musical language. I love singing in multiple different languages. I love singing in Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, French. There are a number of other languages I've sung in over the years. But for me, I heard that C'est le printemps by Blossom Dearie years ago. And it's just so charming. And I'd never covered It Might As Well Be Spring. And I don't know, that I got it stuck in my head when I was listening to different songs, thinking about what I wanted this new album to include. And that song, It Might As Well Be Spring, had long been on sort of this running list of things like, I would love to try an arrangement of that someday. Then it occurred to me, oh, this one exists in both languages. And in the French one, of course, it translates into something it's not super dissimilar in meaning, but it does have like a little bit more of a melancholic, world-weary meaning in French. And so the idea of pairing sort of this more brooding, like slightly, just more enigmatic beginning to lead into a much more sort of sardonic, upbeat, it might as well be spring.
Agité comme un roseau dans la tourmente, tu m'énerves et tu m'irrites en ce moment. Le monde me désenchante par ce beau jour de printemps. Fatigué, désabusé et sans courage, impatiente, je ne sais plus ce qui m'attend. Je sens arriver l'orage par ce beau jour de printemps. Sentir loin d'ici, fuir la vie de chaque jour. Et peut-être en m'évadant ainsi, y trouverai-je de l'amour.
I'm thinking about that great video you made, which I'm sure allowed you to branch out to a broader audience, How to Dismantle a Life. It's like the most adorable, fun video. If you haven't seen it, maybe we'll share it with.
That'd be great.
But tell us a bit about making that video.
Oh my gosh. That was maybe the most fun day I've ever had. Working. But yeah, that was another one where it just sort of popped into my head. I did the storyboarding for that whole idea, and I had a friend, Monica Graves, who also worked with me on my first music video, A Woman's Way. She and I kind of concocted a way to make my vision real, which was, I was like, what if we just have all these like illustrations of what the words are saying, but in these really kind of wacky ways, and it's just this one shot, like a one kind of take idea. It didn't end up being all one take, although at the end it is. When everything's crumbling onto my head and you're seeing like everything falling on me, that was one take. We got 2 tries at it. It was nuts. But it was a visual that, I don't know, had been in my head for a long time, of like, it's kind of a comical song. It's a happy breakup song. How do you put a visual to that? But it just, I don't know, it just felt right. It just felt like, making something really fun and kind of funny to go with this odd sort of pairing of, let's call it off. Also, it's a good thing, and we should probably be happy about this.
Right.
Without it being, I will always love you, or something that's sort of the similar bend, where it's like, we're not meant to be, but they're usually kind of sad, and this one did not feel that way. So it just felt like kind of the perfect way to approach that. But I don't know. I had a wildly fun time doing it.
Counting the years, counting the tears I spent waiting on another you to finally bloom. before me. I don't know why I didn't try, wondering if we just didn't fit. Instead of shrinking myself, oh so small, too many feelings in my heart to hold them all. You saw the mess but never saw the art. I was too much for you from the start. How to dismantle the life? Just take the first step out the door and keep it going. All those unbearable nights are all that I need for my heart to gladly show me the way. Show me the way out. Everyone tested us in subtle ways of saying, hey, you clearly made a mistake. You'll never change, I'll never change. Let's agree that neither of us should. We're pretty good for someone else, aren't we glad? We didn't make a baby and that all we had was the silverware, the gravy, both the sheets. And there's nothing much we care to keep. How to dismantle the life? Just take the first step out the door and keep it going. All those unbearable nights are all that I need for my heart to gladly show me the way. Show me the way out. Show me the way. I knew the day would come when I jump without any doubt. How to dismantle a life? Just take the first step out the door and keep it going. Out of a house made of lies. 'Cause after the winds of truth start blowing, all the pieces start to fly. The walls tumble down all around on their own, and suddenly you see the sky, the light that you need for your heart to gladly show you the way. Show you the way. Show you the out.
Maybe you can tell us about your upcoming shows, including the Montreal Jazz Fest.
So I am indeed performing at the Montreal Jazz Fest. I'll be at Studio TD on July 4th at 6 p.m. So, and I will have 3 of the members who are featured on my new album, Dreams Lost and Found, with me for that performance. So Tori Butler on piano, Morgan Moore on bass, Sam Kermeyer on guitar, and we have Louis Vincent Hamel on drums, who joined me for a tour that I just did in Japan. I just came back from that a few weeks ago. He was great too, amazing drummer. And we're going to play just the one show for Montreal Jazz Fest, but I will be back in Quebec to play several shows in September. So if people miss the Montreal Jazz show, I will be again playing in Montreal at Upstairs Jazz in September. I'd have to look at my calendar to look the exact date, but it definitely will be on, if it's not already on their calendar, it will be very soon.
What are you planning for the Montreal Jazz Fest? Are you going to be doing mostly music from the latest recording? Is it a mix? I hope you're doing the Leonard Cohen song.
I bet we will.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be majority songs from the new album. For one thing, it's just I'm so stoked to be able to finally do these songs because I've only been able to do them for a limited amount of time so far. They're still very new for me, and I know they're very, very new for my audience too. And I've played Montreal many times, and so I think people who've been to my shows in the past will have all kinds of new inspiration, be surprised by some new songs, and that's going to be fun too. There will be a few songs from past repertoire as well. So You'll have to attend to see what those are, but definitely got to do that Leonard Cohen song. That's a gem. I love doing that song. Dance Me to the End of Love is, in my opinion, one of the most poetic, beautiful songs ever written.
Dance me to your beauty with a burning violin. Dance me through the panic till I'm gathered safely in. Lift me like an olive branch and be my homeward dove. Dance me to the end of love. Dance me to the end of love. Let me see your beauty when the witnesses are gone. Let me feel you moving like they do in Babylon. Show me slowly what I only know, the limits of just dance me to the end of love. Oh, dance me to the end of love. Oh, dance me to the wedding now. Dance me on and on. Dance me very tenderly and dance me very long. We're both of us beneath our love. We're both of us above. Just dance me to the end of love. Oh, dance me to the end of love.
If you had to choose one song to put in every set for the rest of your career, what would it be and why?
My goodness. You're a tough interviewer, man.
Oh, well.
You ask the hard questions, but I like it. Let's see. Honestly, if I just go off of what seems to be in every show that I do, or most of the shows that I do, I guess I would go off of that. I absolutely adore Feeling Good,
Okay.
Nina Simone's song. I love it so much. I love it because it's bluesy, it's gritty, it's hopeful. I always get to do a lot of fun stuff vocally in that song. I'd never do it the same way twice. You know, it's got drama, it's got sensitivity. I don't know. It's yummy.
What is your arrangement like of that? Do you have a few different arrangements, or how do you like to play it?
I have done it a few different ways. I kind of have a general standard arrangement that I often do nowadays, but I have done it many different ways over the years, including I've even done it with a symphony orchestra, and that is a trip. That is a totally different kind of arrangement. That is very I don't know, James Bond almost feeling. Rob Birdwell, who's a friend of mine who plays trumpet, lives here in Oregon and has played quite a few shows with me. He's also a composer, and he orchestrates a lot of things. And he orchestrated that arrangement, and it was just like, I was shocked when I first heard it. I was like, I never envisioned this song this way, but it's really cool and really fun. So that's kind of a nice blast out of the ordinary. But my version tends to be a little more kind of simmering, sultry.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, oh, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, and it's a new life. Oh, yeah, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, It's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Yeah. Fish in the sea, oh, you know how I feel. Oh, and the river's running free, oh, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, oh, you know how I feel. Oh, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, and it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Dragonfly out in the sun, oh, you know what I mean, don't you? Butterflies all have fun, oh, you know what I mean, and sleeping in peace when day is done, you know what I mean. And this old world is a new world, and it's a bold world for me. Oh, yeah. Oh, stars, when you shine, you know how I feel. Cinder of the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, yeah, freedom is mine, and you know how I feel. Oh, it's a new dawn, and it's a new day, and it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling, oh, I'm feeling good.
Do you have any advice for new singers? So somebody starting out a career at any age, really, or even people who are just singing for fun. If you have any advice to share with them.
Yeah. I also feel funny about advice because I feel like we're all such different, different artists in our own right. Our voices are all so different in what they need. So I think finding your voice in that way that I was talking about before, where yes, explore the things that you like the sound of. Mimicry is a great teacher. But what's more important even is what feels like it's coming from me versus what's coming from my thinking mind that's trying to find all these reference points actively. So like practice, 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 and then try to just sink in and let go of the head stuff. And that is how you can find sort of the freedom in music and not overthink everything while it's happening. Because that's this, for me, that steals the joy out of it, is when I'm trying to overthink everything and overprocess and try to do it perfectly and try to hit this exactly like that in that moment. And, you know, that just gets you so much out of the experience of living the music. So the more that you're able to connect, whether that's through, for me, dance really helped me orient more toward that. Feeling comfortable in my body, and experiencing the music through not just my throat and my breathing, but through my shoulders and through my feet and through my hips. And it changed everything about my relationship to what I was singing. And that's true for whether I'm on stage or whether I'm in my kitchen, you know, singing to the radio or making up songs for my cats. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It translates to everything. It makes me feel like a musical being rather than a musical thinking creature, you know? And I don't know, there's something about that I feel like is really important. It gets lost sometimes because we are so cerebral in our lives in so many other aspects, but music is so much better when it's felt.
Thank you, Halie. I think
Oh.
our listeners are really going to enjoy what you had to say today and your music, and we look forward to seeing you soon live. Thanks so much
Yay.
for chatting with me.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for all the great questions. You really had me thinking.
And thank you for joining us for this interview with vocalist Halie Loren. To learn more about Halie, visit halieloren.com. And to hear more, follow the link in the description below to the Spotify playlist inspired by today's episode. If you enjoyed La Voce Vita, please share it and subscribe to the Karen Myatt YouTube channel or visit karenmyatt.ca for more news and information. Follow us on social media and click the bell to be notified when we release a new episode. Finally, we want to hear from you. If you have a question, a suggestion, a request, or music to share, feel free to send us a note in the comments below or at karenmyatt.ca/message. Until next time, I'm Karen Myatt, and thanks for listening to La Voce Vita.